Author Emily Oster has been helping women navigate pregnancy for more than a decade. Her first book, Expecting Better, has become a staple for many women as they prepare for childbirth. Now Oster is out with her fourth book called The Unexpected: Navigating Pregnancy During and After Complications. It includes tips on how to talk to medical providers before, during, and after pregnancy. Emily Oster joins us now. Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So we know there are a lot of books out there about the challenges of having children and after, but what did you see as the need for this particular book? I know your first couple of chapters, you talk about having the material, having the script, knowing what to say.
Yeah, so in the decade since the first book came out, I've talked to probably thousands of women about their pregnancies, and many of those conversations are hard and complicated, and people are incredibly emotional about the things that have happened, but those complications are not rare. So about 50% of pregnancies have been complicated by one of the things we talk about in the book. And we really intended the book to be a guide for people navigating those complications and for the people who love them, who want to help them navigate that. And that's our goal here.
So half of all pregnancies, they include complications.
Yeah.
But I feel like this conversation doesn't happen enough. It's whispered about, but on a macro scale, why is that?
I think there's two things. One is, I think often when women experience these complications, there's a sense of shame or fault that makes them reluctant to talk about it. And I think socially, we don't expect those conversations. When you ask someone, how was your, how did childbirth go? You're expecting to hear, it's great, the baby's amazing. You don't want to hear, well, I have some prolapse, and here's the complicated thing that happened. And yet, if we don't say that, then people feel alone. They feel that they...
Sometimes you don't even ask the question because
Sometimes you don't even ask the
might
question.
anticipate an answer that you might
we
not
don't want to hear about the hard stuff.
Wow.
One of the complications you write about is miscarriage, which happens in at least 25% of all pregnancies. What do you want people to know about navigating pregnancy after a miscarriage?
I think one thing is that many people have one miscarriage, and typically after one miscarriage, there isn't much of an elevated risk of another. But after multiple miscarriages, it is appropriate to talk to your doctor about, are there additional tests that might be helpful in navigating what is going on? So making that distinction, but also emphasizing that this is so common, and that doesn't make it easy, but it does mean you really are not alone.
You also mentioned mental health and talk about the difference between pre and postpartum depression, sort of the differences there. How important is it to understand? And again, a lot of your book is based on data and other studies that you've looked at, but you're giving women the tools to not only say it's okay and it's normal, but then what to ask your doctor next.
Yeah, so postpartum depression is a great example of a place where having the right conversation with your doctor at anticipating the possibility is the key to prevention or treatment. About 15 to 20% of women will have postpartum depression. About half of that starts during pregnancy. One of the things we see in second pregnancies is this is often much better because people know to be looking for it. They know to be saying up front, I am at risk for this. How are we going to evaluate to make sure that it doesn't happen again? We should be doing that for every pregnancy, whether it's happened before or not.
Right.
And you heard from thousands of women when you were researching for this book. What do you hear the most?
I feel alone, and I want to share my story. I mean, we put out a call for what would people like us to talk about in the book. We got almost 4,000 responses from people, just paragraphs and paragraphs of this is what happened to me.
I'm sure
this
from
is
every
my
age,
story.
right?
From every age, people many years later saying, I still think about this. I'm still grappling with this. And I think that is what I hear the most. I want to tell the story that happened to me.
I know you said fourth book. I'm looking forward to a fifth one. I feel like a lot of women
Well, expecting
are being
that,
helped.
your first one was so good. I mean, it's on the shelf of everybody who's had children. It was a big sort of Bible in our house, so thank you.
It has been a privilege to be here for people in those moments, the good ones and the bad ones.
All right, Emily Oster, thank you
Thank
for joining us. The Unexpected is on sale right now wherever you like to buy your books.